That 401k you worked so hard for, at age 73, the IRS forces withdrawals, and the taxes can sting. We're breaking down how to reduce the damage today on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
You are moments away from finally getting the inside track on finance.
You've saved, you've done all the preparation, but when it's time to execute, you have to shift from preparing to performing.
This is the Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
What we're going to do is take the guesswork out of financial planning for you.
Making more momentum with your money.
Look, it's Tod Long in the house, literally in the house. Tod, it's so fun to have you here for the big broadcast.
Yeah, this has actually been a very good experience to actually go through this studio, go through this full office, and it is amazing. I'm quite impressed.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we can use a little bit of these, a little bit of our broadcast today in video chunks.
Yeah.
So that folks can see what in the devil we both look like.
That is true.
Well, we're here to talk about finances, and this is Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. Long Financial Services is his firm, and these RMDs, they kind of drive me crazy a little. I'm nowhere near that age, but this is a tax bite, isn't it? It's like a scorpion. It's like you only see it when it's stinging you.
That's correct. Actually, in other shows, I've called it a tax torpedo.
Fine.
Because it will torpedo your consistent income that you think you're going to have in retirement is going to torpedo that, because it's going to spike your tax brackets, it's going to spike your Medicare premiums, everything. Actually, it'll make your Social Security be taxed as well. So there's lots of things that happens when you turn 73.
Now, is this just a matter of education, do you think? Why don't more people know about this?
It's a matter of procrastination.
Oh.
That's what it is. Most people think, yeah, you know what? I'll just wait till 73 and just let it happen. That's not a strategy. That's procrastination.
Right.
And it hurts you tremendously when it happens.
Well, let's go back to, in simple terms, let's go back to the beginning, as they say, and tell me in simple terms what in the heck an RMD is.
Yeah, and that's a good place to start. So an RMD is simply this: the IRS forcing you to withdraw money from your tax-deferred accounts. When I say tax-deferred, that's anything qualified. What's a qualified account? That's your 401ks, that's your traditional IRAs, that's your 403bs, your 457 plans. All those things are qualified or tax-deferred money. And the IRS is going to force you to take that money out. And that's really it. There's no financial sophistication to it. It's a government saying, well, you've had time to defer that tax for as long as possible. Now it's time to pay that tax. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. If you have that traditional IRA, 401k, 403b, or TSP, if you're in the government, any tax-deferred retirement plan, your balance has never been taxed at this point. So once you hit 73, the IRS is going to say, let's start to make that payment.
Okay, so I better hand out your phone number. To reach Tod Long, Financial Fast Track, or you could go to financialfasttrackradio.com, but here's his number to hop on his schedule, 888-548-0409. It's 888-548-0409. I went blind for a second. 888-548-0409. Now, Tod, literally is the IRS coming over and knocking on the door? All right, happy birthday, Mr. and Mrs. 73 years old. Now hand it over. How does it work? What is the notification process or whatever? Well, and does each retirement account have its own IRS man?
Well, each retirement account that is a 403b, technically yes.
Okay.
Traditional IRAs technically don't. What I mean by that is if you have a 401k and you have several 401ks, that's a better analogy. If you have several 401ks from old jobs or whatever you had in the past, each of those have to be RMD'd.
Oh boy.
Yeah, if it's a traditional IRA, only just one has to satisfy that. But each 401k technically does.
Is the whole idea to, by the time you get to 73, not have 10 ghost accounts? Right?
Absolutely.
That are out there.
Absolutely.
401ks floating around out there.
Correct.
IRAs in the...
We talked about that last week, I think, in our retirement simplicity show. If you have multiple 401ks, 403bs, et cetera, any kind of qualified accounts that are out there, that's just problematic because you lose sight of all those different things. And then if you don't technically if you hit an RMDs and if you don't consolidate by that time and you forgot about an old 401k, guess what? IRS did not forget about that 401k, and they'll penalize you if you don't pay that RMD. So it's important to actually consolidate as you start to get closer to that retirement age.
Okay, this is Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. And Todd, they want their money, right? The government wants their money. All of the baby boomers have zillions of dollars, right? It's literally trillions of dollars in 401k/IRA accounts. So they're coming for us. Because they've been giving us an advantage, and you get a tax write-off for contributing to these accounts. But now they want their due.
That is correct. It doesn't matter if you need the money or not. If you're past 73, you're going to have to start to pay. And the thing is, 73 is usually the least amount you'll pay, because that starts to increase over time, because it's based on the balance that you have as well as your age factor. And the closer you are to 95, 96, that means obviously, you're going to pass away at some point in time. The government thinks, hey, we still got to get our money out of this, so we're gonna X factor that more. So the longer you live, the more money is going to be taken out of that RMD.
I'm not digging it.
No.
People get on the phone and talk to Todd. 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. So are there some preemptive, things that we could do?
Yeah. So typically there's a low-income sweet spot, and that's right when you retire to the point you start taking Social Security payments. And that's really when you have the lowest amount of income tax bracket. That's where your lowest income bracket is. And so that's the best time to actually start doing different types of strategies to actually move that money out of a qualified account into some sort of Roth or a non-qualified account.
Okay.
And that reduces the RMD burden once 73 happens.
But if we put it into from qualified to non-qualified, we have to pay a tax then.
We do, yeah,
okay.
But it's a known tax. You're going to know what it is.
It's a known tax.
Exactly. So if you're in 22% tax bracket, let's say, then you know what that cap is. And the strategy is to get right up to that point to where, number one, I don't go into another tax bracket. Number two, I don't change my Medicare payments, right? Number three, I don't adjust or impact my Social Security if I'm taking it. That's what you try to do. That's kind of the balancing act you have to do when you do any kind of conversions out of your qualified account into a non-qualified account.
Okay, this is not as dry as I thought. Now, when we come back, we're also going to spice it up. But this is your chance to shine.
Yeah, so if you're actually listening right now and thinking, wow, I don't know what an RMD is, or I have no idea what my RMD how it's going to impact me when I get to be 73 years old, this is exactly why we offer the Financial Fast Track Review. For the next 10 callers, we're going to offer a complete RMD projection for you. We're going to show you what your RMDs will look like at 73, how they grow over time, what tax bracket you'll be pushed into, whether you'll trigger the IRMA surcharges, how much your Social Security will be taxed, and strategies to actually reduce or offset those RMDs before they hit. This is not a sales pitch. This is clarity in writing so you can actually plan with confidence. Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
Oh, I'd be happy to. You use this number we have set up just for the show. It's 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409 to reach Long Financial Services and talk to Tod Long. We'll be right back.
Tired of financial jargon that leaves you feeling confused? At Long Financial Services, Tod Long offers clear, straightforward advice about your retirement. Understand your strategies, regain control, and get peace of mind knowing exactly where you stand. Call 888-548-0409. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Okay, we've got you all set up here using the Monte Carlo, the El Camino, Pinto hatchback simulation, and the formula E equals MC squared, factoring sequence of returns.
I'm not sure I really understand what you're saying.
It's simple. Just take the AER and then consider the APR along with dollar cost averaging, and then implement the flux capacitor and the AEIOU.
Wait a minute. Are you just making things up to make it sound good?
You're out of line, sir. Some of those things I said were real.
Tired of financial jargon that leaves you feeling confused? At Long Financial Services, Tod Long offers clear, straightforward advice about your retirement. Understand your strategies, regain control, and get peace of mind knowing exactly where you stand. Call 888-548-0409 now and experience clear, plain-speaking advice. Proudly serving the Oklahoma City area. Again, 888-548-0409.
Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, and I have him here in person. I'm Jackie Selby. Thank you for joining us here on the big program. It's funny, I don't know why I say thank you for listening to the radio. Most people just listen.
Just listen. But it's good to thank the listeners, though.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have folks participating, especially in the show each and every week.
Yeah.
We try not to make it too dry. Required minimum distributions, is that an IRS term, RMD?
It is. It's in the code. RMD, required minimum distribution, forces you to take that money out of the qualified accounts no matter what, because they want their cash.
Well, it's not very nice of them.
It's not, but it is nice of them to let us accumulate the money without any taxes on it. There's props. So the trade-off is you either gotta pay the taxes in that low zone I told you about, low income zone, or if you want to wait, you can procrastinate, but at 73, that tax bomb can be quite difficult. And
then we just review in the last segment we were talking about, you get to your 80s and 90s, and I don't know about you, but then opening the mail and going, what is this big fat tax bill I owe?
Yeah, I did mention that the longer you have RMDs, the more money you'll pay because of the age factor that the IRS use as a calculator. Basically, what it is they take your RMD, which is your account balance plus your life expectancy factor. I call it the age factor. So if you're 73 and your account balance on December 31st of the last year is $1 million, your divisor is around 27.4%, or 27.4% is not there. That means your required withdrawal is going to be roughly, and if you want to do the math, I'm going to do the math for you. It's $1 million divided by 27.4, which means it's about 36.5. And so it's pretty simple in that way. But
divisor, you're scaring me. These are math terms.
It is. I know. I put a divided thing in it. But the misleading part of this whole thing is that the IRS knows your life expectancy factor, or your life expectancy factor, gets smaller every year. Which means that the percentage you must withdraw gets bigger and bigger and bigger every single year past 73. So if you have that $1 million, it can start to stack up 73, 74, 75. That factor starts to adjust, which means you'll start paying more money over as you get older.
Okay, that's why that goes up.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm glad you explained that. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know that, and that's why they think, just wait till 73. That factor or that rate is going to be the same consistently. It's not going to be the same consistently. It's going to start to grow every single year. And if you had a good year, right? Let's say the market does really well. This is probably some of the problematic things of waiting. One of the things is if you have a good year, it's more RMD, right? If you have a bad year, well, you're still going to take that money out because it's required, but also you're going to take a loss because you're having a bad year, right? So it's got it's a triple effect, a trickle effect in retirement planning and retired income, I should say.
Sure. It's also a triple effect in a way, not just trickle.
No, that is triple, actually quadruple, because it does affect your Medicare surcharges.
Right.
If you go $1 over the Medicare thresholds, then that's going to increase your Medicare payments, Part B and D, for the rest of the year.
Sounds to me like somebody needs a financial fast track review. Here's the phone number to get that done, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. Again, on Todd's number, it's 888-548-0409. All right, let's talk about low income window. When is the best time to do this? A low income window, that doesn't quite sound right.
Yeah, it doesn't. But
explain that.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it's actually it's a good thing when you're retired, and especially if you want to use this strategy to minimize RMDs that are going to happen at 73. But what it is, it's the period between when someone retires and when they start taking the Social Security, and then when the RMDs hit. So if you retire at, call it 62, let's say you don't take Social Security until 65, 67, whatever that is.
I see.
And then you're 73. So that time window gives you the ability to take money out of your qualified funds, whatever it may be, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, whatever, and you get them into a non-qualified status. You'll pay taxes on it today, or whenever that happens.
That's okay because you're in a lower
tax bracket.
Because you're not taking your
That's
big
correct.
fat regular paycheck out of your job.
That's correct.
Right.
That's
okay.
correct. You're in a lower tax bracket. So a lot of people who procrastinate during this time frame penalize themselves because you'll wait until you get to 73, or I get a lot of people call me, I'm 70 years old or I'm 69 years old and I got $1 million in my accounts. How can I minimize RMDs? I just had this conversation, I think it was Thursday or Tuesday. I'm sorry, early Monday this week, that he had actually $4 million in his account, and he is actually 67 years old, and he's looking to minimize RMDs. I'm like, well, with that much money, I can absolutely help you, but you're still going to have a tax bomb.
There's going to be taxes to be paid.
Absolutely. He's like, well, yeah, he admits it. This is one of the honestly one of the only conversations I've actually had with a customer that said, I was psychologically, and we talk about this, I was psychologically connected watching the balance grow, and I didn't want to do anything with that. And I'm like, yeah, but you understand that that's not all your money. No matter what that connection you had, you're only going to 3/4 of it at most, right? And so he's like, yeah, I understand that. I understand that now. And now that I'm in this position, there's nowhere around me not having a huge tax bill for the most part for a good chunk after 73. We're talking about 10, 15 years because that's going to take a long time to move that money out of that qualified account.
I see.
Into another account.
I see. Is there, an intersection of the taxes going away and his age? Is there a projection of when that'll be minimized?
No, absolutely not. Yeah. What's going to happen is that, again, based on that life expectancy factor, I'll call it the age factor, it's a lot easier. It'll start to increase, right? His balance RMD portion or required balance is going to start to increase, but not enough to take you out of that $4 million. So what typically happens in that situation, if he passes away, call it 90 years old, he's probably going to have $2 million left in that account. $1 million, $1.5 million left in that account. And guess what? It gets rolled over to the beneficiaries. Are the children or the grandchildren, whatever, and now they got that tax bomb, right? So it's a trickle down effect, even for your legacy. If you procrastinate, you're just setting bombs up for a lot of people.
It's so much taxes. And do people ever say to you in your practice, well, that's their problem. That's, I don't care if they have a tax bill, they're still getting $1 million.
Well, yeah, I do have clients that say that, but
at first,
but then they start to realize, well, my children may or may not be in the same financial situation. They may not have, or they may, let's say they're a teacher or in education. Well, they don't have that kind of money.
They don't have that kind of an income
to be able to support a tax bill, an inherited tax bill, right? So people have to start to when I start to break it down to them, they start to maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I try to have a plan to do it, even though I procrastinated because I didn't want to pay the taxes, or I like looking at that balance go up, whatever. Got to get out of that mindset. That's not a strategy at all. It's just like, well, I like having a big investment account. Yeah,
but it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not a real number. This is the whole reason that you want to act sooner than later.
Absolutely. As soon as you have the opportunity to 59 and a half, if you're not contributing to a 401k or you have a old 401k that's sitting out there, it's time to get that 401k out of that and get it into a qualified type of account and go ahead and pay that tax bill today because you know what it is. And that way you can set yourself up for your future and your beneficiary's future in the future.
Well, why should people get in to see you then? It's your turn.
It's my turn, right? Yeah. If you're listening right now and you're thinking, "Wow, this is good." Number one, good information. I didn't know about a life expectancy factor. Those kinds of things. Anything that really associated with how RMDs are calculated. Then that's the reason why we actually created the Financial Fast Track Review. What we're going to do is actually, for the next 10 callers at least, we're going to project your RMDs from age 73 through age 90. We're going to show how those withdrawals actually affect your tax bracket. We're going to evaluate your IRMA exposure. We're going to show you how much your Social Security benefits can be taxable. and then lay out a low income window and actually how to use it easily. This is the foundation for understanding how to keep more of your money instead of giving it away through forced taxation. So Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
Oh, I don't like the forced part. You know, nobody likes that position.
No.
All right.
Shouldn't.
888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. Call and get your financial fast track review with Todd. And it's all about, in my opinion, getting a leg up on what is coming. Right? You want to see what's coming. You can't run backwards, can you?
Absolutely.
For 100 meters.
when you do a strategy, right? You want to look at the totality. I tell people, I want to give you all the information, put it on the table, so you can actually make a logical decision.
Okay.
That's ultimately what it is. If you, in order to do that, you got to see what those projections are going to look like.
Very good. And here's the number again: 888-548-0409.
Okay, we've got you all set up here using the Monte Carlo, the El Camino, Pinto hatchback simulation, and the formula E equals MC squared, factoring sequence of returns.
I'm not sure I really understand what you're saying.
It's simple. Just take the AER and then consider the APR along with dollar cost averaging, and then implement the flux capacitor and the AEIOU.
Wait a minute. Are you just making things up to make it sound good?
You're out of line, sir. Some of those things I said were real. Tired of financial jargon that leaves you feeling confused? At Long Financial Services, Tod Long offers clear, straightforward advice about your retirement. Understand your strategies, gain control, and get peace of mind knowing exactly where you stand. Call 888-548-0409 now. 888-548-0409.
Feeling like just another number with your advisor? At Long Financial Services, you're always valued personally. Tod Long knows your retirement isn't about numbers on a page. It's about income you can depend on, security you can trust, and advice tailored specifically to you. Take the first step toward a meaningful conversation. Call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Welcome back to Financial Fast Track. I've got Tod Long here, and I want to talk about what happens in those years between maybe you have just claimed your Social Security, but you have not converted any of your IRA money, and you're sitting on this big fat, I got $1 million in here. I got $1.5 million. But is this going to affect my Social Security and how much of it is taxed once I start taking the RMDs?
Yeah, this is an area that retirees actually get blindsided on. And not just for RMD purposes, because they really don't know how Social Security works. And we've probably had a conversation about this, or show about this in the past. But
yes.
There's a thing called provisional income, and that determines how much of your Social Security is taxable.
What do you mean provisional? What is that?
Yeah, it's an equation.
Okay.
Formula. Of course, we're talking about
math.
IRS. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Math. Yeah, there's tons of different kinds of equations out there, and so provisional is based on any income. This is the kind of the formula. It's going to be rough because I don't have it memorized, but any income you have coming in, and that income is RMDs. It is regular income if you're working. It is municipal tax interest that you're getting, as well as a portion, 50% of your Social Security. So if you take all those things and if it hits over a threshold, and by the way, those thresholds are very low, as in like $34,000 married filing jointly. I'm going to say that again, $34,000 married filing jointly. That means that a portion of your Social Security, up to 85% of it, can be taxable. That's why it's highly important to try to, number one, have a strategy on when to take Social Security, when to work or not work, or those kinds of things. If you're 62 years old and try to work and you take your Social Security as early as you can, that you're not going to get all your Social Security, period, because that is that's another thing that we'll talk about in the show, but that happens where you may not get all your Social Security. It's going to get withheld.
So I feel like they get you coming and going, Social Security or not.
Yeah,
right?
Social Security will yeah. IRS is just
They're coming for the money.
They're coming for the money, and that is more, part of that is Social Security Administration, not so much IRS, but it's government.
Right.
The government is going to come get it, right? So
they both have our address.
They do, yeah. And I am well aware, once I crack the age of when I can do something with qualified money without penalties, then I'm doing it without a doubt. Because I've been waiting for this 59.5 for sure.
Right. Well, so you can set up a report then for a potential client and say, okay, this is when that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's what we do in the financial fast track reviews. Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. We get a plan. We do two different kind of strategies basically. One is what's called a directional strategy initially, kind of show you the direction of how and where you take your retirement plan, and then we do a detailed strategy, and we do optimization on it, we do stress testing on it, et cetera, and then give you a map on where your balances are at, how does an RMD impact it, how's the Social Security being impacted, what's your IRMAs, what's your Medicare payments, all that stuff. We actually put that into a plan, so you can have a really a 1-2 pager snapshot of where things at, what it looks like, and how to really formulate decisions based on what you see.
That I like. All right, to get your financial fast track review, use this number. Call Todd, 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. Be right back.
Cookie Cutter Financial, how may I help you?
Hey, it's Mr. Johnson. Can I speak with my advisor?
He's in a meeting.
I really need to speak with him. I'm so worried about all the volatility.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, I'll make sure he gets the message.
2 days later.
Cookie Cutter Financial.
Yeah, Johnson again. No call back. I really need to speak to him.
He's in a meeting?
4 days later.
Cookie Cutter Financial.
Johnson here. I really, really, really need to speak with my advisor.
He's in a meeting? A meeting? Meeting? He's in a meeting? He's in a meeting? He's in a meeting? In a meeting?
He's in a meeting. He's in a meeting.
Having trouble reaching your financial advisor? You deserve better. At Long Financial Services, your retirement matters. Not just sometimes, but all the time. Tod Long and his team believe in open communication and timely advice because your financial future shouldn't have to wait. Call 888-548-0409 today to connect with a team that truly cares about your retirement. Proudly serving the Oklahoma City area. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Retirement means a new phase of life, and managing risk is crucial. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long and his team build comprehensive strategies designed to minimize risk, generate reliable income, and help you stay proactive through every market condition. Discover what your retirement plan could look like. Call 888-548-0409. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We've got Tod Long from Long Financial Services here, and we're going to be talking, it's Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, the name of the show. I'm Jackie Selby, and we have a case study for you. I'm really excited about this. Now, our whole program today is really about required minimum distributions. And so Todd has put together a real case study about what can happen, what can't happen. But why don't you set it up for me? Who do we have here? A couple, right?
Yes, a couple.
All right.
In their early 60s. I'm going to call them Jim and Laura. That may be their names.
That might be or might not be.
It's probably their names because I don't come up with fake names. And so Jim had recently retired from a engineering firm. I think it was structural engineering. I'm not quite sure which one, but and Laura, 30 years in healthcare. Between them, they had roughly about $1.8 million in pre-tax money, which means it's all qualified, hadn't paid taxes on it, et cetera.
Oh, golly. So in IRAs.
In IRAs and 401ks.
Again, that looks really sexy in there.
It does.
Are 1.8.
That's correct. That's exactly what they were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Go ahead.
They had a modest Social Security benefit that was going to be planned for a delayed distribution. Didn't have any kind of pensions on them. And most of their portfolio, mutual funds and index funds, is probably familiar with all the listeners as well, But what surprised them the most is that they had diligently saved, invested wisely, but had not really fully understood what RMDs would actually look like. And so during one of the meetings we actually had, of course, we do these kinds of projections, and that's when their jaws started to drop. They're like, wait a second.
Wait.
What? But and this is what's wild is that just in society, even when I was a child, before I even got, my first job and it was always save, put it in the 401k, put it in some sort of tax deferred type of thing.
Yes.
And so when you're young thinking that, you don't think about what's going to happen at 73, right? And so it doesn't really resonate until you start to look at, or at least have some sort of advisor map everything out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, it becomes real. It's like, wait a second. Yeah, I did save like I'm supposed to, but I still got to pay taxes on that. This ain't all my money, right? And
painful,
then
very painful.
Yeah, very painful.
Shocking.
And then and you start to show them. And I one of the offers I put out there from 73 to 90 years old, we'll show you what this RMD will do. When I did that projection, I think I did it to 85, 88 or something like that, because I kind of do it on a life expectancy. And there's like, so this RMD is increasing. And I said, yeah, it's going to continue to increase because the older you get, the IRS knows, well, you're going to die soon, but I want to get as much money as I can out of you right now, as much as possible before you pass away. So that's what that life expectancy factor is, and how it does. But anyway, they were shocked when they started to see these numbers.
Okay, I'm going to hand out your number here, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. Now, I have a bit of a follow-up question here. Since am I skipping ahead too far? Because if they're both in their 60s, is this early 60s?
Yes, early 60s.
Have not claimed Social Security yet.
Not yet.
And they've got this 1.8 sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
What in the devil are they supposed to do to minimize this torpedo?
Yeah, you are skipping ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because what I want to emphasize on this case study is like if they did nothing at all, if they simply kept investing the same way they've been doing until age 73, that 1.8 will ballooned to roughly about $3 million by 73. And now here's where the trouble really starts to begin, or just starts.
You betcha.
So at age 73, their RMDs will be about $110,000. Okay, that's $110,000 in forced taxable income, whether or not they needed the money or they didn't. And here's what would trigger, right? We talked about all the different triggers that will happen, or this is impactful a lot of different ways. They would have been pushed from a 22% tax bracket into a 32% tax bracket. Mm-hmm. That's 10 points.
Golly.
Their Medicare premiums would have jumped by thousands per year just by going over that $1 threshold. 85% of the Social Security would be taxed. What? Their RMDs in later years would exceed $140,000, then $150,000 per year, right? Remember that age factor, I'm gonna call it. It starts to increase as you get older because the government wants their money. Their portfolio would have been forced to sell assets during any kind of downturns, increasing that risk of what's called sequence of returns risk. So RMDs are impactful in a very negative way for this couple, as I showed them. If they didn't do anything, this is what procrastination can do for you.
Is that what you mean by a chain reaction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is.
Because really, if you're listening to the show, let me tell you that this after talking to Todd for I don't know how long we've been doing this, but boy, are my eyes wide open to what happens with our money in our retirement, because I'm a pre-retiree myself.
Yep.
So here's Todd's number, 888-548-0409. I know we're doing a kind of a case study here, 888-548-0409. But whether you're married or not, you got to talk to a professional before this tax time bomb sends you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm going to double click on this on this case study because, again, and I mentioned it, most people don't realize that the RMD growth accelerates. I'm going to say that again. The RMD growth starts to accelerate in later years, again, because of that age factor. So in Jim's case, or in Jim's and Laura's case, $110,000 at 73. is what they'd have to be forced to take. No matter what, whether or not they wanted the money, needed the money, whatever, you're still getting you got to take $110,000 out. If not, you get penalized up to 25%. It used to be 50%, so the government did give you a reprieve a little bit, but it's still 25%. Come on. And even if you say, hey, you know what, I made a mistake, here's the adjusted amount, it's still a 10% penalty, right? So they'll reduce it from 25 to 10. Still get penalized. So back to Jim and Laura, 73, $110,000, 75, $125,000, 78, $140,000. At age 80, that's $155,000 they would be forced to take if they did nothing whatsoever and just waited until 73. So procrastination costs you money, period.
I just can't imagine sitting there as that retiree and seeing these ginormous tax bills arrive. Because by those ages, you're really set in your spending, especially by your 75 and above. You are set in your lifestyle, right? You're done maybe with the big trips and all that stuff.
You should be. That's correct. And you shouldn't have to be forced to take all this money. And again, I did mention that how those incremental yearly or bi-yearly, how many age years that I've just mentioned, starts to impact their Part B, their Part D, the Social Security is being taxed, any kind of a taxable investment income that's being messed up, and it's just awful to think that I'm forced to do that because you procrastinated. And they're in a good spot. We'll talk about it in just a second. They're in a good spot right now because it's low income bracket. That's what you talked about, low income. Yeah,
yes.
They got bridge money and everything coming in, but it's low income right now, which means that you can start to actually do strategies to move that money out of qualified into a non-qualified bucket to minimize these kinds of things. And I'll talk about how much I'm able to save them once they got most of this implemented, as a matter of fact.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us real example stuff?
Yes, I will give you, as up to date, this was probably 6 months ago when I did this case, but so what we did is we built them a multi-part RMD optimization strategy. It's 4 parts. We used their low income window, which is right now 62 to 70 years old, with kind of what it is.
62 to 70. I love it. Yep.
Yeah. They had 8 years before RMD started, a little bit more. During this window, their taxable income was actually extremely low. So this gave us room to actually do targeted Roth conversions, take voluntary distributions at favorable tax rates, because we know what the taxes are right now. It's like a known tax rate. And then reduce those future large size tax-deferred accounts is what we tried to do. The second thing we did is fill up that 22% tax bracket. We never did cross over to 24. We didn't have to go to 32. We just stayed at 22. And what we feel like precision on these kinds of things is very important, because we don't want to go to 24% and obviously have bigger money unless they can afford it. If they really wanted to get it all out, we can do that. But each year they're going to be able to stay within the same tax bracket. It'll avoid IRMA surcharges. It's going to avoid any unnecessary taxation and actually keep the growth potential so much intact. The third thing we actually did is actually use a fixed index annuity income strategy to actually protect against the sequence of returns risk I talked about. Market goes down, you take money out, and you're kind of messed up there. And then the fourth thing we did is actually delay Social Security until age 70, which is probably what they're going to do. They're going to do in the first place.
Were they really?
Yeah, because they didn't really need the money. Obviously,
they didn't need the money.
Yeah, and so it helps them to just avoid having that taxed or that Social Security number taxed anyway. So we kept that out of the equation.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, kept it out to 70 years old. So that helped them tremendously. And I want to say that they went from $110,000 projected at 73 if they didn't do anything at all, down to $42,000 projected at 73 if they did this strategy. That's a huge savings in amount. And then over a period of actually 62% basically. And after there is a number that I had, and I forgot what it was. I think I saved them roughly $450,000 over lifetime on taxable RMD.
Oh my golly!
Yeah.
And so if somebody doesn't do this, then there goes poof.
Yeah, it's $400,000 you give it to the man.
There goes your $500,000.
$500,000 going to, and we talked about it before. I think I talked to him about another case study I had.
Forget it.
Yeah, he had a little bit more money. So his tax savings was $900-something thousand, almost $1 million.
My golly.
By doing an RMD or a Roth conversion strategy.
Holy jeepers.
Yeah.
I want to say worse words. Here's the number for Todd. 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409.
So, Jackie, the reason why I wanted to really talk about that case study was primarily there's lessons to be learned from this couple. RMD problems start at least a decade before the first withdrawal. Because, again, 63 is when you need to start to think about it. Maybe 62, 60 years old. That low, and the second thing is the low income window is priceless, but it's temporary. So if you procrastinate, then you're just going to cost yourself money that you don't have to pay.
888-548-0409. 888-548-0409.
Is your retirement plan starting to feel generic? You're unique. Your retirement strategy should be too. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long customizes each plan specifically around you, your life, and your goals. For a personalized review of your retirement, call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. We are talking financialfasttrackradio.com. That's a good landing page if you'd like to check out Todd and all the shows we do. You can check out our shows in podcast form, just in case you missed one of these and you're like, wow, what does he talk about last week? All you have to do is go to financialfasttrackradio.com or anywhere that you get your podcasts, because I post those babies up there. And so whether it's Spotify, let's see, that's where I listen to podcasts, but a lot of people on Apple. Mm-hmm. And
I would say that I'm also starting to put these on YouTube.
Oh, good.
So I have, I think, 7 of the episodes there. There's others that are getting finalized, but yeah, I'm making them into little videos.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, we'll use some of this for video content as well. Today's show.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good. Good. All right. Again, it's Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, and we've been talking about RMDs on the program. And so we're going to go to some frequently asked questions, some facts. I said to Todd, in fact, if FAQ, he goes, I don't want to mansplain this for you, but it's frequently
you gotta
asked
edit
question.
it out.
No, it's my own fault. Anyway. Oh, golly. Because you would never, I know you would never mean to insult me by any means. So.
Not at all.
Like never. All right. Do I really have to take RMDs at 73, Todd?
The short answer, absolutely you do. The IRS is not flexible on this at all. So once you hit 73, you must take your RMDs every single year. And if you don't, you get penalties. And they're steep. Again, I think I mentioned earlier that they used to be about 50% of whatever your withdrawal is. So again, if you're going to be $36,000, then guess what? $18,000 penalty. But those penalties have actually been reduced down to 25%, which is still steep. So yes, it is mandatory. You have to take it. So you can't ignore it. You can't get around it. It's going to happen. So just strategize for it.
Because the whole program has been about this. If you are just now tuning in to Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, we've been talking about these darn RMDs, but I guess this whole segment is a bit of a summary on that. So
yes,
can I delay or skip my RMD if the market is down?
Yeah, I get this one a lot because, again, early in the show, we talked about the psychological aspect you have towards your balances growing. And you're thinking, at 73, if the market goes down, it's still in a good spot. Yeah, no, not necessarily. The answer is no. The IRS doesn't care if the market's down. You must take your RMDs based on the value from December 31st of the prior year. And this is one of the biggest dangers in retirement planning. You might be forced to sell investments during a downturn, locking in losses. You would prefer to write out, but you have to do it anyway. So because
it's the year before, and you're going, okay, next year this thing is going to come out. I have to take action. And it could be at a loss.
That's correct. And you have to do it. So
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is why actually building, buffer assets or, income strategies can also be important because it helps balance those losses out. Because again, you're going to have to take that loss if you have your money in that market. There's ways around it. You just got to strategize for it.
Now, I don't want to do all this. I know that some people really love hopping on Reddit, ChatGPT. I mean, just pick one,
Yeah.
and or just regular bit meta. Hey, how do I claim my Social Security strategy? How do I do these RMDs? Isn't it better to have the whole darn thing worked on with a professional? I would say yes, because I'm busy doing what I like to do.
Right, and all those aspects, and this is kind of like we talked about in prior shows. People get advice from barbers, gardeners, uncles, cousins, aunts, etc.
Church deacons.
I heard somebody say something at the barbershop. What that's not strategy, and then you don't really know how to implement it. And also, I use another analogy. So you have a bicycle, motorcycle. Are you going to take it to the car shop to get it fixed? No, you're going to go to a bike shop to get it fixed, right? And so if you want to have somebody look at a retirement account to understand where you're at, where you're going to be at in the future, what RMDs are going to do, what Social Security is going to do, what Medicare is going to do, et cetera, you talk to a financial advisor or you talk to a retirement or a specialist, which is what I do. And so you try to find those people out and do it that way versus I'm going to go out in the ecosphere and see if I can grab up a solution and make it happen.
I don't know. Some people find that easier in a way. Say the doctor says, okay, your cholesterol's high. Then you go on Google and say, well, which vitamins can I buy from Walmart, right, are going to lower my cholesterol? Listen, this is not a plan.
That's not a plan.
Buying, vitamins at...
That's not. It's not a plan. It's not a health plan. It's not a financial plan to do it that way. The internet's good for what it's for. You can do good research. If you really drill down and actually focus on the exact thing, you probably can find a strategy, but it's going to be piecemeal. And it's going to be moving parts that you don't necessarily need. And again, last week's show, we talked about simplicity. You don't want that in retirement. I want to make sure that all my clients has an income source that's coming in that's consistent, that pays for all the things that they, the necessity they need. And also want to design something other types of income streams to actually mitigate those sequence of returns risks, or if you're forced to take RMDs, we'll make that happen. We can do it in a way that it's not as impactful. It's going to be impactful. It is what it is. I had an analogy, but I'm not going to say it on air.
All right.
It's a funny one, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, what you were saying, you could piecemeal it.
Yeah.
A little bit of advice from this, that, the other place, but that could have a reverberation in your actions. Like if you take that action, then there could be a reverberation over here that you have not studied. Right. But if you have a professional planner, then you'll see all the angles.
That's correct, and that's what we're kind of trained, and that's what we do. I mean, we talked about it before. I kind of geek out on this stuff, so I kind of know.
Geek out, he says. He's a geek.
Yeah, if I tweak this lever over here, what's going to be the impact? And that's what we look at these your plans over time, and we look at what the projections. What's going to happen if this happens, or scenarios. What's going to happen if this happens?
Now, this is what I'm kind of worried about a little bit. I'm going to give your number 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. This is Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. And if you want to get your Financial Fast Track review with Tod, it's no cost, no obligation. But by golly, you have to start somewhere. So pick up the phone and use this number, 888-548-0409. You said change, and this is what kind of worries me a little bit. What if Congress gets involved and changes these RMD ages? What if they change the RMD age again? Would they go lower or older?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
But either way, if you have a plan, it's not going to matter.
All right.
If you don't have a plan, you may get caught off guard. So if they say the age currently right now is 73, I think at one point in time it was 70 and a half and whatnot and whatever. So it's kind of increasing up. But let's say Congress says, you know what? We want it to be 72. We want it to be 71. And you're 69. Well, you went from 5 years down to 2 years to make something happen, and you got $1 million in your account. yeah, you're because you don't have a plan. You're just caught off guard. And now all of a sudden, either you're going to have this tax bomb going to hit you, or you're going to have a lot of conversions in that year. You can do it. You can get it done. And you can. And by the way, I don't want to say that conversions stop at 73. You can continue to convert, money into your 90s if you want to.
All right.
But the goal is to try to minimize early on, because the longer you have RMDs or the longer you have qualified money, the more you'll have to pay in taxes over a period of time, or once you hit 73. And that's what we try to avoid.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't matter if Congress changes or modifies something, et cetera. If you have a strategy, it's going to be less impactful.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. All right, I got another question racked up for you here. How about this one? What happens if I forget to take an RMD, regardless of age?
Yeah, it goes back to those penalties.
Penalty.
Right? Yeah, you will get penalized. Now it's 25% of whatever your withdrawal is. So again, if your withdrawal is supposed to be, I'm going to call it $10,000 that year, then guess what? $2,500 penalized if you don't take that money. And the cutoff is December 31st of the prior year. Whatever that balance is what they use the formula, and that's the how much you accumulate or how much your value is plus your life expectancy factor. That determines what the actual withdrawal is, and whatever that withdrawal is, there's to be a 25% penalty if you don't pay.
This seems a little creepy because they know what that amount is, and now they're going to attach a 25% penalty
on top of it. Yeah.
On top of that, I mean, they know what's in the account. Gosh darn it!
Yeah,
don't they?
They absolutely, of course, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a contract technically with the government. So carrier accounts, or they mean Fisher accounts, or Edward Jones accounts, et cetera. Most folks will do the calculation for you and pay that money out, regardless of what it is. So it's 25%. I'm sorry, if it's $15,000, $20,000, et cetera, they will calculate that, do the taxes for you. They should. Some don't. Some you have to pay taxes on it yourself. But the penalties, they know the code, so they'll penalize you for the IRS.
Good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun.
Yeah. Our whole show has really been about RMDs and the forced tax trap that they really are, and that a lot of retirees don't even see this coming, Todd. So is 73 too late to convert or get a plan together? Do you have anyone in your firm, your client base, that has come to you in the early 70s and said, help, get me out of this, help?
Yes.
Okay.
I have. And it's not too late to do stuff. Again, as I mentioned, you can do conversions as long as you need to do conversions. But the problem is if you start at 73, then you're at the lowest amount of your RMD withdrawal because you're the youngest.
You're never going to be any younger than right then.
Exactly. And so as you get older, then guess what? That RMD the withdrawal is going to start to increase. So it behooves anybody just like, you know what? I want to, again, take care of your future self.
Right. By
taking that money out, getting it into a non-qualified account as quickly as possible. You just limit yourself if you start at 73. If you start at 62, got tons of options. If you start at 65, you got options, not as much. And if you start at 70, you don't really have a lot of options.
Call Tod Long of Long Financial Services, 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. And we will see you next week, Todd.
Yes. See ya.
Investment advisory services offered through Tod Long, a registered investment advisor. During this show, Tod Long provides general information, not individually targeted personalized advice, and is not liable for the usage of information discussed. Exposure to ideas and products or services should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any of these financial vehicles. This information should also not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate, and when redeemed, may be worth more or less than when originally invested. method. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to securities or investment advisory services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are offered through Tod Long. By contacting Tod Long, you may be provided information regarding the purchase of insurance products.